What? Check the focus. Why don't you do that real quick? Is it still going?
Yep.
Oh.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Well, not in October. We also do. Let me do that again.
So
It's September.
we're back.
We're back. You know what that means if it's September?
It's what the hell are you reading?
That's not it.
New books.
No.
September TBR.
No.
It's not our anniversary.
No.
What?
It's almost fall.
It's almost fall.
Which means it's almost spooky season, which means it's almost our favorite time of the year.
It doesn't feel like it outside.
Oh, no.
I'll tell you that.
Given that it was almost 100 degrees today.
Especially in this room.
Yeah. It's a little hot right now. I don't know why I'm wearing a hoodie, but, alas, here I am. Yeah. Well, welcome back. We are Shelf Possessed.
I am David.
And I'm Craig. And we're so glad you came back to join us. If you have joined us before, you've already seen our August wrap-up. If you haven't, it's in the description box below. Check that out. If you haven't liked the video, give us a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button and comment below. This is our September TBR. These are the books that we have chosen to read in the month of September. And we'd like to know what your September TBR is. So click below in the description box. You'll see our books, but also comment below and tell us what your books are. What are you reading in September? Mm-hmm. We're excited to see it. Mm-hmm. So if you watched our August TBR, we both said we had some goals for our September TBR because August was tough. But now that we're kind of back in the swing of teaching and things are kind of, settling down a little bit once the start of school has ended, we wanted to have a little bit of fun this month and kind of just go a little bit easy on ourselves.
Mm-hmm. And I think we have.
I think we have.
I hope so.
Before we filmed, I'll just say it. Before we filmed, I added a fourth book to my TBR, when I was only going to do 3. So we'll see which one wins out in the long run. So
yeah, I think with this month, I don't really care if it's not gonna keep my attention. I'm gonna throw it away. So.
Yeah. There may be some DNFs this month. Who knows? You'll see. Join us.
Add-ons.
We may get through these quickly and then add more books on. Who knows?
I think these TBRs are very I don't know. I don't know how other booktubers do it, but it's. I think it keeps you responsible for your reading, but then you also feel crushed if you don't meet that. So
it's a double-edged sword because it's both it's good to keep you on your toes and accountable for what you're actually reading, mm-hmm. but it's also a sort of Damocles kind of hanging over our heads the whole month. You gotta finish, you gotta finish, you gotta finish, and we need to embrace the fact that it's okay if you don't finish a book. The book's not going anywhere. The book can hang out.
So maybe it should be September TBR?
Question mark?
I don't know.
Yeah. Check the title. We'll see how we feel ultimately when we put it up. So
I think we're gonna get through the majority of these books.
Yeah. I think we both picked fun things that we enjoy, that we actually want to read,
mm-hmm.
So
I was gonna put in a kind of a fall kind of a horror book or a thriller book, but I think I'm gonna just hold on just a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna go crazy in October.
Yeah. In October, we also do we watch a horror movie every night up until Halloween, and we've done that the last 2 years. So maybe we'll, instead of doing some movies, we'll make some nights where we just do reading nights instead of watching movie nights. Okay. Especially if we're reading only horror books. So, and we'll. When we do our horror movie marathon, we'll also share that with you as well. So, should we dive in?
Let's do it.
Who do you want to start? Me? Oh, we forgot to say. Also, we have our surprise TBR selections for the month. So we're going to do those at the end. So if you're curious what we picked for the other one, stay around till the end and we will reveal our surprise books. So
I don't know how you're going to think about that book.
I don't know how you're going to feel about this one either. But last month we both our surprise picks were our highest rated ones. So
okay. Let's keep going.
Okay,
keep going.
All right. My first book is one that I actually just randomly saw on Instagram, on an Instagram account, and they compared it. They said it's Gilmore Girls meets Greek mythology, and I was like, interesting. So I read about it and I purchased it. It is called All the Blues Come Through by Metra Farrari, and it is about a botanist who is trying to create some sort of like genetically engineered plant to save the planet, basically. And she ends up in Greece and amongst another group of scientists who believe that they are descendants of Olympus. So they are descendants of the gods, and that she might be the missing piece. And so it is a mythology series. It's actually book 1, but it actually just came out. So I'm excited to read it. It's not long at all. It's like 280 pages or something like that. So I should be able to get through it pretty quickly. And I already started it. And the writing is good. It's very quick. It's very quick-witted. It's fun. It's pop culture references, so I think I'm going to really enjoy this one. So that's All the Blues Come Through by Metra Farrari. You shouldn't judge yourself. It's fine.
I'm not judging. I'm just saying there are some books that I do read in the gaps that have nothing to do with this channel that I read just for fun, for my own enjoyment, and for some reason.
And you decided to come out of the closet this month.
I decided to come out of the Sandra Brown closet. I had saw her book Blind Tiger, and Craig graciously bought it for me, and I tore through it, and I have to say, I understand. I get it. I am now a crazy fanatic of Sandra Brown. I don't know how long this is going to last. We'll see how this goes. Usually, I don't read a lot of popular fiction, but The Blind Tiger was fantastic. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to talk about that.
Literally said it was one of his favorite books ever.
It was the story, it was the characters, it was the love scenes. I'm like, Sandra Brown has me by the throat. Really. Craig, since he heard that I loved Blind Tiger so much, decided to buy me another Sandra Brown book called Play Dirty. And just to give you a little taste of what this book is about, let me just read a little bit. After 5 long years in federal prison, Griff Burkett is a free man. He's a disgraced Cowboys quarterback that can never return to life as he knew it before he was caught cheating. By what? I don't know. So there is a CEO of some airline and his wife. They're a golden couple. They're successful and wealthy. But they want a child and they can't. So this is where Griff comes in. He's going to become the surrogate
father.
Specimen for this child, and shenanigans ensue. So I'm excited about that. That sounds like fun. Hopefully it's a lot like Blind Tiger, because I'm going to eat that up. But I love that. If nobody's playing by the rules, play dirty.
Also, I think he just loves them too because of her. If you've never seen a picture of Sandra Brown, you should look it up. She looks like Mama D from Real Houses of Dallas.
I love it. I love
That's a 73-year-old woman.
I love Mama D. I love Sandra Brown. Give me a Texas broad.
Yeah.
All right. So that's it. That's all I'm going to say, because I'll have a lot to say.
He'll tear through that in like literally 3 days.
I'll be done.
So it'll be done. Yeah. My next one is a book that's been, I heard about it on NPR, and then I read about it, and I said, okay, I think I need to read this. It's Mrs. March by Virginia Feito. I think Feito. Sorry if I mispronounced it. This is a thriller, but it's a thriller set, I believe it's in the 50s. 40s or 50s. It's about a husband and a wife, and the husband is a well-known writer, and the wife, someone says to the wife that one of his most recent characters is based on her, and she finds that very offensive, and then starts to dig into his life a little bit, and then someone goes missing, and it's supposed to be very much like a Talented Mr. Ripley thriller-ish. The pull quote on the back, the first one is from Elizabeth Moss, and everyone else on here are, Elif Boutman, Helen Ellis, and Amber Sparks are all people I've read before, so I thought this would be really good. And when I heard her on NPR talk about the book, I was like, that sounds really interesting. Plus, the cover was really, stunning and grasping. So she wears these, turquoise gloves in the book that her husband buys her, and she actually finds them quite garish, but wears them because she thinks people will think that she's fashionable. So this is Mrs. March. I'm excited to read this one. It's also not very long either, and it's very stylish and fun. So I'm excited to read that one as well.
Okay, my next book is Kristen Hanna's The Great Alone. I read The Four Winds,
a while ago. That
was the first Kristen Hanna book that I ever read of hers, and I just absolutely loved it. I don't know why I didn't put it on one of my top lists, because I think I kind of forgot about it, because I think that was one of the first books that I read in 2021, and it just kind of fell by the wayside. But I was going through our bookshelves and I found it, and I was like, oh god, I remember this book. But it was just fantastic, and so I decided to get The Great Alone. I think I got it a month later, and it's just been waiting for me to read on our shelves. So I'm going to do that hopefully, and it's just right off the bat, Alaska, 1974, unpredictable, unforgiving, untamed, for a family in crisis, the ultimate test of survival. So, great writer, also great.
Sounds very fall-y.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's in Alaska.
Yeah.
And it's in one of my favorite decades, the 1970s. So I'm going to be happy, hopefully, with that.
Awesome.
Kristen Hanna, Sandra Brown.
It's your popular fiction month. I love that you said that at the very beginning when we started this, that you're like, I don't really read popular fiction. But now you're kind of dipping your toes in there.
I'm going to jump right in.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever's going to get me through, I say whatever keeps you reading, whatever keeps you interested, then yeah. I mean, don't be ashamed of what you read. If it's not the book of the moment, who cares?
Right. And that's the thing, too, that we've discussed before, that, we're both kind of mood readers in general. We don't like to, set a certain amount of, this is the type of book we're going to read. We kind of want to read what we feel. Mm-hmm. And if you happen to feel in the mood for that and you like it, then there's nothing wrong with it. We like what we like, and that's it.
It's going to be Sandra Brown, September, and then, come January, it's going to be, Tolstoy. So,
we'll see.
I go back and forth all the time. So.
Yeah. I do not. I tend to stick in one lane, but I'm expanding out of my lane with my next two.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I told you at the beginning that these next two, I added one of them at the last minute, right before we filmed. And it'll be a toss-up to see which wins. So I'm going to start both of them and see which one I like. The first one is A Star is Born, the making of the 1954 movie and its 1983 restoration by Ronald Haver. Weirdly enough, this book was recommended to me by one of my students. She came into my classroom before school started, and we were talking about something, and I mentioned this YouTube channel that I love, which is called Be Kind Rewind, and I'll link her down below. She does amazing film essays on classic film, especially women in film. And my student freaked out and said that she loved that channel as well. And we were talking about it for an hour. And she mentioned that she was reading this book, or that she had this book, and I'd not heard of this, weirdly. I love A Star is Born. I love Judy Garland. I love all versions of A Star is Born. So when she told me about this, I was like, oh, this is really interesting, because this book not only goes into the pre-production, but it also talks about the tension and the problems in the filming of the movie, and then the kind of reception of the movie afterwards. So I said, I need to read that book. He would probably love this book. So I picked it up, and I was like, it was really originally just going to be these three, and that's it. And so I was like, this is going to be enough, right? This is nonfiction, it's enough. It's also kind of long and dense, but I thought it would be really interesting. And then when we were talking about it, I said, because of school, and last year in one of my classes, we read and listened to the musical Carrie. I'm a theater teacher, and we've had this book for a long time, and I've wanted to read it. And it is Not Since Carrie, 40 Years of Broadway Musical Flops. And I've been wanting to read this book for so long, and I was looking through our bookshelves, and I just saw it, and I was like, I need to read that. This is a perfect time to read it. So right now it's a toss-up between Not Since Carrie and A Star Is Born. Like I said, I'm going to start both, and we'll see. But this book specifically, goes into 40 years of Broadway flops. So Carrie the musical is one of them, and there's lots of talk of the film adaptations of musicals, and then which ones actually are worthwhile. So, and the cover is great too. So it's mostly talking about Carrie. So. A Star Is Born or Not Since Carrie, I haven't fully decided yet, but those two are on the list as of right now. So,
and like Craig, too, I'm also a theater teacher, and I always bring up this specific musical in my classes, usually the first couple of weeks of class when we talk about Broadway, when we talk about Broadway flops, when we talk about maybe collaborators that maybe should not be collaborating together. But I brought it up today during class, but that is Song of Spiderman, the musical, the inside story of the most controversial musical in Broadway history. If you don't know anything about this musical, I would say
read this book.
Go to YouTube, look up Spider-Man, Turn Off the Dark. You'll get an idea. Once I bring up that Spider-Man was a musical, a lot of heads go up and say, what? They turned that into a musical. And then we're going to talk about why it was an interesting idea and why it was probably not such a good idea to do at the time. So I'm excited to read that. I have not read through this yet. I read bits and pieces of it, but I'm excited to get through it because it may be a part of a project that I'm doing in the future. So
there's also a really interesting video, which I'll link below, which is kind of goes along with the book and really just dissects why it was a flop and why it was a failure, and then all the blame that got put on Julie Taymor afterwards, when in reality there was lots of blame to be had. So it's really interesting, a sexist look at that whole situation, which I thought was really interesting.
It's a sad story, but we do have Spider-Man the musical. I don't know if it's ever going to get done again, but
probably not.
Probably not a great community theater production.
No, not unless you want to kill your actors.
I mean, I would love to see that in a community theater. Wouldn't you? Okay.
Yeah. All right. So those are the TBR books that we picked for ourselves, and now it's time for our surprise TBR. So these are books that we picked for each other that the other one does not know about, and we're going to add these books to our TBRs. So this month we did not do the book bags. We've instead put them in gift bags. Oddly enough, gift bags from our wedding. So these are gift bags that are holding our surprise TBRs for September. You ready? I think we're probably both going to not enjoy these. Maybe.
Can I just preface real quick? Okay. This is one of my favorite books. I read it during my PhD program, and it took me out of any kind of responsibility that I needed to do, and it stuck with me the whole time, and I love this book when I read it, and we'll see what happens.
I'm nervous. Okay, let's exchange.
Okay.
Who's opening first?
You go first.
Okay.
It says congratulations. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay.
She's one of my favorite writers. And I know. I just try to get through it because I think it's a beautiful story.
Okay.
It's a hero's journey.
Another nonfiction book, as it were.
It's not nonfiction. It's fiction.
It's in a memoir?
No.
Oh, I'm thinking of her other book. I'm sorry.
No,
not fiction. Nonfiction. It's fiction. That is Sweet Bitter by Stephanie Danler. So, can I just watch the TV series instead?
No.
Damn it.
No.
Okay. He did love this book. He did talk about this book a lot and bought her other books. And I had no interest in reading it. So we'll see how this works out.
Just take it page by page.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say I had a deep connection with it.
Mm-hmm. And I will say, as much as we are in sync in a lot of ways in our lives, our reading tastes are very different. So I also don't want you to be disappointed if I don't finish it.
Okay. I think you would like the series better.
Okay.
But I would like for you to read that, so then finally we can watch the series together.
We'll see. We have enough to watch right now. You're gonna laugh. I picked it mostly because you did a lot of short stories last month, and this is also short stories.
They're short stories?
Mm-hmm. But they're all connected to this one place.
Okay, well, that's good. So Craig painstakingly gave me the bake shop at Pumpkin and Spice. Like you said, a collection of short stories by Donna Kaufman and Kate Angle and Allison Charles. What does that mean? Okay, so her name is bigger, and then it goes...
I wonder if that means that she contributed more, and then she contributed second more, and then she contributed the least.
Okay, so she got paid the least.
Probably.
Well,
this book has been sitting on our bookshelf since last fall because I wanted to read some fall-themed romances, and I purchased it, but then didn't ever read it, and have been meaning to read it, and I thought it's relatively small. They're relatively contained stories. It all takes place in this one small town, all connected to this bake shop. So, it's just 3 different authors. That's why. So it's 3 different stories.
It's 3 stories.
Yeah. I still think you'll like it. It's fun. It's fall themed. It'll be a good way to kind of kick off.
And it has pumpkin and spice. So I'm going to have him buy me a pumpkin spice latte through the duration of me reading this book.
And maybe some pumpkin treats. Who knows?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, surprise TBRs, maybe a big question mark. Maybe hold it up.
I'm even reticent to even touch it. So
I'm gonna. Why don't we start this towards the end?
Yeah. I think I'm going to read all the books I want to read first, and then get to this one at the end. And I'm not, by no means am I saying that this book is bad. I just have never had a desire to read it. So
her voice. I love her voice as a writer. Okay, I'll just say that.
Okay.
And I think the protagonist is I love that book so much.
Well, then maybe I'll love it. Who knows?
But we'll see about this.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be nice and fluffy and a good way to open up the fall.
It'll feel like a Hallmark movie, probably.
That'll be a good segue into our October reads, right?
Yeah. All right, so should we review our final picks for our TBR?
Okay.
Why don't you go first?
Okay, so I'm going to start with my girl, Sandra Brown, and I'm going to play dirty, like the book. Then I'm going to head into Alaska in The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. And then I will follow that up, heading my way across the country to NYC to the song of Spiderman. And then I'm going to go back
upstate New York.
Upstate New York to the bake shop at Pumpkin and Spice to end out my month.
That's quite a journey around the country. Texas to Alaska to New York. It's great.
Yeah.
My TBR is, first and foremost, All the Blues Come Through by Metra Farrari. And then Mrs. March by Virginia Feito. And then Either Or, we'll see. A Star is Born, the making of the 1954 movie by Ronald Haver. Or 40 years, not since Carrie, 40 years of Broadway musical flops. And then to round it all out, my surprise TBR choice, which is Sweet Bitter by Stephanie Danler.
It's going to change your life.
I hope it does. I'm by no means assuming that it will not. I
think it's just you saw the length of it, and I think that's probably...
Yeah, especially because I said in my last video that I was going to take it easy on myself, and now I have 6 books.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
We'll see.
So that is our September TBR. Like I said at the beginning, we want to know what you're reading. So comment below and tell us what you're reading. Have you read any of these or heard of them? What do you think of Sweet Bitter? Let's hear it. Tell us in the comments below. Like the video, comment, subscribe if you haven't. Share the video with someone who you think might enjoy it.
Find us on Instagram at @shelf_possessed.
And we'll be back later this month with some really special non-TBR related, non-book review related books, but some book recommendations that we have for you, and maybe a very special bookish Q&A.
Oh, that's right. So we kind of said at the very beginning, to piggyback off of that, if we hit 300 subscribers, we'll do a kind of subscriber Q&A, and we're almost there. So whenever that happens, we'll kind of do that, and then we'll kind of reach out to you and say, hey, ask us something.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe something not too personal, but, something fun.
Book-related, obviously.
Or book-related, whatever. Or marriage-related, whatever.
Just about us.
So we're looking forward to that. And then we also have that surprise Q&A that we'll do for each other.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so thank you for coming. We're Shelf Possessed. I'm Craig.
I'm David.
And we will see you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.